Do you ever want to dive deeper into the Bible, but you just don't know where to begin, or struggle to feel like you even have the time? When you read the Bible, do you get frustrated because you know there's so much more in there, you just have no clue how to get it out? Or maybe you want to know the Bible better, and you're looking for any resource to help. Then this is the podcast for you. Welcome to the Context and Color of the Bible podcast. We're sisters. I'm Veronica.
I'm Erica.
And we love to study the Bible, and we love to help others understand it better. When it comes to our own study of Scripture, we have found that in bringing back the context of Scripture, it adds so much to our understanding. It actually adds color to the black and white pages of the text. So, Erica, we're down here with a special guest still. Are you not saying anything?
No, I have to make you move to speak into the mic, so I thought I'd be the more quiet partner again.
Yes, we're back with Habakkuk chapter 2 this week.
Woo-woo!
I know. So, Bryan.
Hey.
In reality, it's been like a month since we recorded chapter 1. But for everyone listening, it's only been a week since they heard.
All right. So we need to...
Just kind of bring us back to where...
Sure.
How we're going to jump into chapter 2 today.
Yeah. Yeah, so we ended chapter 1 with a lot of loose ends.
Yes.
A lot of, wait, I don't like this. This can't end this way.
Didn't feel finished at all.
It definitely, the loose ends start getting tied up in chapter 2. So just hang with us as we go through chapter 2. If this is the first episode and you're jumping in, or you just want a quick refresher, so Habakkuk is one of the a minor prophet, just a short 3-chapter book of the Bible. And Habakkuk was a prophet that lived around 620 to 605 BCE in the kingdom of Judah. It was a time when there was a lot of strife in the land. It was a time of international turmoil, upheaval. There was a power shift going on between the Assyrian Empire passing the power over to the Babylonian, or losing their power.
I was going to say, not by choice.
No.
It's not like a baton passing.
No. And in this period, as we talked about in the earlier episode, well, the cats are away, the mice are playing. And unfortunately, that means the rulers and powerful of Judah, supposed to be godly people, were actually corrupt and just forcing their oppression upon God's people. And so Habakkuk's crying out to God, and in chapter 1, he's saying, God, how long are you going to stay silent in the face of this wickedness, this injustice that, God, your own people are wreaking havoc upon, each other. Like, how long are you going to stay silent? And God responds. He says, don't worry. Your problems are about to get swallowed up by a bigger problem.
Not encouraging.
And I think we talked about some of this is the tone. Like, Habakkuk's tone is very abrupt, very sharp, and God seems to respond in kind. Habakkuk follows up with a response that closes chapter 3 and says, okay, wait a minute, God. Like, I hear what you're saying. These Chaldeans, this Babylonians you're raising up are going to... they're going to march through the earth and kind of swallow up the problems we're running into. But, if this is the case, how can the wicked punish those who are more righteous? Like, these people are horrible. They're even worse than we are. How does this solve the problem? And moreover, God, if that's true, and you're not going to stop the Babylonians from destroying even your own people, who's to ever stop them? Are they just going to keep on destroying forever and ever? So you've got these 3 questions that just keep hanging at the end of chapter 1. How long, O Lord, are you going to stay silent? Number 2, how can the wicked punish those who are more righteous? And number 3, are they just going to go on for ever and ever destroying? And these questions do get answered in chapter 2 as we go through.
Okay. So that's kind of then the framework we want to be keeping in mind and how you're going to break it down, because we're not going to cover all of chapter 2 today.
Right.
Okay.
Right. There's a lot here. And especially we're going to slow down here. These first few verses are just really important to chapter 2 and the entire Bible in reality. So you ready for chapter 2?
I am, if you are.
Okay.
Especially now that you said they're important to the entire Bible.
Yes.
I'm looking at them going,
Yes.
Okay.
You don't see it, Veronica?
No! Do you?
No, not really.
Okay.
All right. Well, you guys can tell me what you think by the end of chapter 2.
Okay.
So chapter 1 is the dialogue. Habakkuk throws this question at God. God responds. Then Habakkuk responds. And if we're thinking the dialogue is going to continue, there's a little bit of an interruption because we enter chapter 1, and now it's a bit of a narration. Habakkuk's saying, I will take my stand at the watchpost and station myself on the tower and look out to see what he will say to me and what I will answer concerning my complaint. So God doesn't immediately respond to Habakkuk's questions at the end of chapter 1. In fact, there's no speaking response. So Habakkuk now takes up action.
So he's saying it, but he's kind of narrating his...
He's narrating his own activity, but it's not... We would expect, if the dialogue pattern was going to continue, that God would just jump in and, okay, here's your response. But he doesn't. God doesn't immediately respond, so now we see Habakkuk he's taking up a position.
Is he I'm going to sit here and wait for you, God?
Yeah,
or
I think
jumping ahead?
He's heading up... He's taking up a position of like a sentinel on the watchtower, or on the wall. When in ancient times, if say the army was out for battle, perhaps they're miles and miles away fighting an enemy. Well, you'd have a sentinel or someone on the watchtower waiting, scanning. Maybe they're waiting for a communication from some king from far away, if the king's on a journey or something. So that's what Habakkuk seems to be. He didn't get an immediate response, so now he's moving to a position where he's on the ready. He wants to receive that communication, and he's trying to prepare himself and get in the right place. And in that ancient world, if you see someone on the horizon and the news is coming, then you would immediately alert someone, typically like maybe a young boy or something, and then they would spread the message throughout the town. So that's the picture of the concept that's going to unfold here. And what's important about Habakkuk, he's taking up this position, and it's waiting on God, but it's not a waiting that's kind of a manipulative waiting. He's not going up there on the wall with his arms crossed and frowning and looking at God tapping his foot.
Okay.
I
feel like that looks like Natty.
Yeah.
I think we all just got that look from Natty Grace a little bit ago.
A child that, you may understand this. And you look at connections in other minor prophets. Look at Jonah in chapter 4. I think he was waiting in a manipulative fashion at the end of chapter.
He wanted fire to come down.
Exactly. And he's like grumpy waiting. Well, this isn't what Habakkuk's doing, because you can tell I'm taking up my stand. I'm looking to see what God's going to say to me. I'm looking for how he's going to respond.
So he's waiting with expectation.
Yes.
Not grumpy. Impatience.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes.
Active patience in a way.
Active patience.
Yeah. So here's, in a small way, it's starting to address some of the issues we had at the end of chapter 1. We've got these like, God, I don't like this. I don't like the way that the world is looking. I don't like the answer that you're showing me for this particular problem I'm running into. Well, here's just one little nugget, a takeaway for how does Habakkuk approach this when he's wrestling with God over these really tough issues. Did he just walk away? did he leave? Did he like, God, you're not giving me the answer I want. I'm out of here.
No, I feel like he's waiting to say, okay, God,
You'll answer.
you're gonna explain this to me. I will get clarity.
Mm-hmm.
I will get
Right.
I can hope and trust that you will give me an answer, and I'll be content with that, and then I'll understand better.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I think that's the point, that he's starting to undergo that transformation, because where was he at the beginning of chapter 1?
He's kind of just venting.
Yeah, he was sharp. He was like snippy, like, God, how long are you going to do this? Like, don't you see what's going on? What are you up to? Now he's patiently waiting, but he's also, I think, waiting expectantly. Like you said, like there's a faithfulness component to it that's underneath it. And we're going to get to that word in the next episode. But he's starting to go through that transformation. And the question is, like, where do you go in tough times when you're getting a response from God that isn't favorable? Maybe look at Habakkuk. Look at how he responded. And
I need a wall.
he climb up on your roof. And there was a time for him to dialogue with God, but Habakkuk recognized there's a time where I need to get in a posture of expectant,
humility.
Reflection.
Yeah, I think
a
so.
reflection in a way of I'm going to sit here silently.
And think back to that picture of a sentinel.
Right.
Is a sentinel up there just kind of playing tiddlywinks?
No,
Is
they're
he on his
actively
phone?
involved. I mean, he's doing nothing, but he's busy.
Very focused.
He's working.
Working, looking.
Yeah.
That expectant word is a really good word. So he didn't give up. He didn't walk away. He wasn't distracted. He didn't compromise. He didn't come back to God with more snippy attitude. He's like, okay, I'm quieting myself, and I know God's going to bring an answer. I just need to take up this position as if I'm a sentinel. Now, there's debate within the commentaries. Did he actually go up to the wall of Jerusalem or another city? It's hard to tell from the language. It could be just more of a metaphorical picture of his heart was getting in that zone. But I think that's the main point, is that you're supposed to see that his heart and his mentality is if he's on a wall waiting for that word from his king, from his sovereign, something to give him that response he's looking for. And God rewards his diligence. So we see in the next verse, and the Lord answered me. And now we start to get God's verbal response to chapter 1. And God starts speaking and says, write the vision, make it plain on tablets, so he may run who reads it. For the vision awaits its appointed time. It hastens to the end. It will not lie. If it seems slow, wait for it. It will surely come. It will not delay. So God starts to answer Habakkuk. And I think, as we see in chapter 1, where God's sharper reply follows Habakkuk's sharp questioning, now we see God's more patiently walking Habakkuk through this response.
Kind of mirroring his tone.
It's like, okay, you've quieted yourself, Habakkuk. I see you're ready for this. Well, let me start walking you through the steps of this. First, God is instructing Habakkuk, make this plain. What I'm about to tell you is so important, I don't want there to be a misunderstanding. I want it to be crystal clear to you. And this message that I'm giving, write it on tablets. So tablets would be the ancient writing materials of the day, and it's more than just scrap paper. Like a tablet would be an official court
Okay.
document or something that would be, inscribed with on soft clay that would then be baked and hardened. So this is, you're making this isn't,
Has more permanence.
it's more permanent, and we're not talking about the tablets like the 10 Commandments etched in stone. This is, again, still with the picture of like an official royal communication kind of thing. It would have been this kind of clay thing that would be portable, about the size of like a phone, really. A tablet that would then be inscribed with this message. And it's to be official. It's to be permanent. It's to be easily transported. God's saying, this message I'm about to bring, it needs to have these characteristics so that you can pass it on. And that picture of the sentinel on the wall, what does he do? He passes on the message so that the runner can run through town and give that message. If it's written down, then there won't be any miscommunications.
Right.
There won't be any mistakes. It's all written there. And the characteristics of this message, God says it will not prove false. It's going to be 100% guaranteed. You can,
Accurate.
accurate. You can take this to the bank, Habakkuk. And the second characteristic is that it's not going to delay. Remember question number 1 in chapter 1.
How long will you stay silent?
God, how long? How long? Well, God's starting to answer that. He's saying, Habakkuk, I know these events, they may seem delayed to you. You may feel like, when is God coming? When is he going to make things right? And God's answer is, it's going to come at just the right time. It's not going to delay.
Which, those of us who have walked with the Lord, you do have those times where you go, where's my answer? Where's my answer? And then you finally get it and you go, I couldn't have planned it better, God. Whatever that timing was, whatever. And so it to me, I go, okay, it's learning. If you're not getting your answer right now, the time's not right.
Right.
There's different things we're praying for, and it's like, God, when, how much longer? And so just that idea of it's not the answer. It's not delayed. It's coming.
It's coming.
But it's not the time. The time's not right now. Something still needs to happen.
Right. So as we close these few verses, and there's a lot in these verses, what we see from God's perspective, Habakkuk's job was write this vision down. Write these words that I'm about to speak to you, Habakkuk. Write them down. You need to make it clear. You need to communicate them. And then you need to wait on me.
Isn't that the job of all believers, though, now that I think about it? Like, communicate God's truth, but wait for God to provide the fruit.
Right. The answer.
Of his word.
Right.
Yeah, God's saying, Habakkuk, you attend to your responsibility, and I will attend to mine. It will happen. It will get done. And I think the human condition is we can fall into one of either two traps, one extreme or the other extreme. The one extreme is God's going to take care of it. I don't need to do anything.
Right.
I can sit on the lazy boy. My lazy boy Christianity. What's next on YouTube? The other extreme is God doesn't seem to be doing anything, so I'm going to go save the world. That's hard. Like,
it is, because that middle ground, it's like, am I doing too much? Am I not doing enough? Where do I go with that? And probably truthfully, we all swing
right
back and forth. There's those of us who tend to gravitate towards grabbing control and running ahead. And there's those of us who it's easier to go, oh, well, I prayed about it once. I'm good. God will take care of it. I'm just going to go about living my life. And then hopefully, though, we're all back and forth. Sometimes I grab control and I need to be reminded, you're not God. And other times it's like, oh, I really haven't been engaging. I haven't been praying enough. I haven't been, praying, fasting, getting wise counsel, what to do. So is this a good breaking point?
I think so. I think, here we're seeing God setting the stage. He's saying, Habakkuk, here's what I want you to do with the message I'm about to deliver. Mm-hmm. We see God's partly answered one of question number 1, but now he's going to move into starting to answer the remaining questions that Habakkuk had brought up in chapter 1.
Which I kind of like this because I feel like, okay, this gives me a game plan in a way. Have I gone to God?
Mm-hmm.
And now having gone to him and been honest in my feelings, maybe I was venting. Maybe I need to change so God doesn't mirror my tone. But now going, okay, God, I am going to sit here and wait. Not pouting, not manipulative, but with an expectation that you're going to answer, and I can rest in that answer's coming.
Yes.
While I'm watching.
Yep.
And going, what do I do next?
Mm-hmm.
So I kind of feel, to me, I was telling you before we start recording, the first 3 episodes of Habakkuk was kind of like, I didn't like how they ended, truthfully, because it didn't give me hope. It didn't give me anything to
nice
do.
Pretty bow.
Yes, I like my bows. This, I at least go, okay, now I have something I can glean and do while I'm looking around and asking, how long are you going to stay silent, God? When are you going to answer? When are you going to take care of this? I at least now have something I can be doing.
Mm-hmm.
So, other final thoughts? Erica shook her head no.
Those were good.
So, come back next week because we're going to, again, we're not finishing chapter 2 next week. You're not going to take us to verse 4 all the way to 20 next week, are you?
Nope. We're going to do 2 verses.
Right. We're going to slow down. But already how you said this is kind of how the whole Bible hinges on this.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, we kind of are there. I can see it more now of we're all waiting. God, when are you coming back?
Yep.
So true.
Look at what's going on. When are you coming back? I need to be actively sitting, actively watching,
waiting.
doing.
Yeah.
So I see better now how you say this affects the entire Bible. So thanks for joining us. Come back next week. As always, you can interact with Erica on her website, ericavanheitsma.com, if you would like to send a message to her husband. That's a great way to get to him. You can write me on my Facebook because I probably interact with people more than Erica does. VeronicaCopenhaver.com. We have Facebook, Pinterest, and Instagram, different ways you can see our graphics. You can see, if you want to see a picture that goes with the voices you're hearing, especially right. Bryan's right now. I have one from last week that you guys sent me that I'm going to put up soon. So thanks for joining us, and we'll talk to you next week.
Bye-bye.